Hello, good evening and welcome to Hotedition on 3FM 92.7, live from our studio here at Desanwe Kanda in Accra, and also live around the world on 3news.com. Coming up this evening, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign team assures members of parliament who did not support his flag-bearer bid that there will be no victimization after the primaries. Also coming up, government to decentralise teacher recruitment, shifting responsibility to district assemblies as part of broader agenda to improve staffing across public schools. And later in the bulletin, government is racing against time to meet a 2-week ultimatum by cocoa farmers for the settlement of their unpaid funds. And later in the bulletin, as Volta North Police intercept narcotics, arresting 4 suspects, we will engage with NACOC to explore what is being done to reduce the incidence of the growing of marijuana in the country. Details of all of these and more coming up shortly. Before that, let's bring you the news summaries.
In today's summaries, we'll start off on a rather sad note as the Northern Regional Minister, Ali Adog John, has sought a 1-week break for 147 students of the Tolan Senior High School who were severely affected by a fire outbreak that gutted the girls' dormitory on Monday, this morning, February 2. The decision followed a visit to the school by the regional minister, accompanied by the Northern Regional Director of Education and the Deputy Administrator of Gets Fund. Now, the fire displaced about 346 students in total, with 147 losing all their personal belongings after several dormitories on the top floor of the faculty were destroyed. Now, away from that, the Minister for Interior, Mohammed Mutaka Mubarak, has handed over 10 Nissan Navara pickups to the Narcotics Control Commission as part of efforts to strengthen the Commission's operational capacity in combating drug trafficking and related crimes. The move, according to the Minister, is intended to improve NACOC's mobility, response time, and overall effectiveness, particularly as drug-related activities become increasingly sophisticated across the country. Now to health, the Food and Drugs Authority has announced the immediate closure of all food service establishments operating without a valid food hygiene permit effective February 1, 2026. The directive affects a wide range of food-related businesses, including restaurants, lounges, hotels, chop bars, snack bars, online food vendors, as well as canteens in schools, hospitals, and offices. The enforcement action is being carried out in accordance with Section 130+1 of the Public Health Act, that's Act 851, which prohibits the manufacture, sale, and supply or storage of regulated products in premises that are not duly registered for such purposes. And finally, Ghana's President, John Dramani Mahama, has been recognized as number 5 on the list of 50 most powerful people in the world of development and change-making that's compiled by respected publication DevEx for championing of the research agenda. The prestigious firm list identifies the individuals transforming the global development sector during a period of tectonic shift. President Mahama's ranking places him at the forefront of a new generation of leaders who are navigating the re-entrenchment of traditional foreign assistance and the rise of private sector-led growth. That's it for the summaries, Martin.
Thank you very much, Enyonam Haligah. With that, let's settle now for the details of the stories. And it has been a very eventful weekend. Many of you who followed us here at your election command center would have known that TV3, 3FM, and all our sister stations and partners brought you extensive coverage of the NPP's primary to elect a flag bearer. Well, the dust has now settled, and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the NPP's flag bearer going into the 2028 general elections. Now, the Middle Belt campaign coordinator for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Dr. Ayu Efriye, has dismissed claims that there are plans to witch hunt members of parliament from the Ashanti region who openly opposed Dr. Bawumia's bid to become the party's 2028 flag bearer. His comments come amid criticism directed at some MPs, including the minority leader Alexander Penyo-Markin, for backing one of Dr. Bawumia's rivals during the recently concluded primaries. In some quarters, These MPs have faced calls for sanctions, including demands for the removal of Alexander Peña-Makin as minority leader. Speaking in an interview with 3FM's William Evans Inkum, Dr. Efriye stressed that party unity remains a top priority and made it clear that there would be no room for reprisals. According to him, the focus going forward will be on healing divisions within the party and building a united front rather than punishing members for their choices during the primaries.
A fiercely contested primary which saw the former vice president and 2024 presidential candidate of the opposition MPP back on a ticket. But some MPs opposed his re-election. Now that Bawumia has won, some believe the MPs who campaigned against him in the Ashanti region will pay the price. However, the Middle Belt campaign coordinator of Dr. Bawumia, Dr. Efriye, says it is a line that the former vice president and his campaign team will not cross.
Dr. Bawumia would not pursue anything like that. In any case, elections are done locally in the constituencies. So it's for the MPs to justify themselves, and then the constituencies are responsible for that. Dr. Bawumia will not cross that line. And we here too will not cross that line because local issues are local. The presidential one, you can move into somebody's constituency because we are waiting for presidential. But when it comes to parliamentary, if you really like the party or say love the party, you leave the local people to do their own thing.
For him, the drop in percentage for Bawumia was as a result of some MPs moving to different camps.
Look at this. The former MP who worked to keep the police station executives, or what you call delegates, their base, he's no more an MP, but he's going to join a different camp. So he's taking those he brought to Dr. Bawumia to a different camp. So there are no more MPs, but the delegates, he made the album. So even if he has lost the majority, he still has some minority that every former MP who made the album but lost the primaries have some number in it. He lost the primaries not because he had zero, but he had a minority vote, and those votes, they listen to him, they are loyal to him. So about 90% of the 80% of them left, and they took them away.
And you heard the voice of Dr. Efriye, who is the Middle Belt campaign coordinator of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign team. Let's speak to Dr. Jonathan Asante-Akyere. He is a political analyst, has joined us on the phone. Doc, a very good evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Martin. But I believe you shouldn't forget to add my new address, Executive Director, African Institute of Strategic Studies.
Most certainly. Thank you for the addition and the correction. To start with, I mean, now that the dust has settled, we all know who the NPP is presenting, but inwardly, they need to still do some restructuring and find a way of mending the cracks. How would you advise that the party approaches this, considering that 5 different individuals, 5 separate ideas went into the contest?
Well, obviously, they may have to take advantage of the concession speeches of Dr. Bawumia's competitors, that is Mr. Kennedy Japan, Dr. Brian Echampon, Dr. Edichum, and Dr. Kwabena Japan. They will have to ensure that these speeches, they hold the people to it. And with that, I'm very sure, and with the idea of ensuring that they have already said they're going to come on board, so they will have to hold their word to it and let them come on board. It should not be the idea, which I am quite, certain that is most likely to happen. And that is the fact that once that Dr. Bawumia has won the presidential primaries, obviously his people will want to occupy executive positions at the national, regional, including even when it gets to MPship elections, people will have to play all manner of put in place all manner of shenanigans to ensure that they get themselves elected. Now, when this goes on, uncurbed, what will happen is the fact that these people that I've mentioned, the four, their support base will feel alienated. So unless we see democracy, diversity, divergent views, being accepted within the system, that in itself will equally hamper unity. At this point in time, the precious commodity here that you cannot place a value on as far as Dr. Bawumia's future on the prosecution of his campaign is concerned is unity. Unity, and it should not be just by mere words. It should be by deed. And so, if people who supported Ken, Dr. Brian, Dr. Duchum, Mr. Kenneth Japan do not feel alienated within the system, then it means that this unity that they are talking about will not just be by a word, but by a deed. And that is the only way by which they will be able to slug it out with the NDC.
And that then brings in the other question. We have heard them speak, like you indicated, after the results were declared. All of the candidates said that we concede defeat and we congratulate Dr. Bawumia. Let's all look forward with a united party. Dr. Bawumia says he will be visiting a number of other aggrieved people in the party who, for one or two reasons, have decided not to, join their fold. Should it take Dr. Bawumia initiating these acts, going individually to them, or it should be reciprocal? It should be the other way. Or how is it expected to play out? Should they also, for instance, decide that maybe next week we, the five or the remaining four, can go to Dr. Bawumia and then show not just to him but to our followers that we are truly committed to this unity talk?
Well, it is said in the local parlance. In literal terms, it is you, Dr. Bawumia, whose picture is going to be on the billboard, not the other way around. So you will have to send an olive branch to these people. Look, they will have to set up a reconciliation committee that will be led by Dr. Bawumia himself. It is for a good reason that they decided to get the presidential, aspirant elected 3 years beforehand. It is for a good reason, so that you will have ample time to deal with things of that nature. Secondly, they seem to have the view, either driven by data or just by sentiment, that 2 million of their voters did not come to vote. So, if you really want to bridge the gap, and re-energize the grassroots, then certainly you must be seen to be sending olive branches to all of these aggrieved, not individually though. It could be in some grouping, because you may have opinion leaders who can engineer a reorganization. This has got nothing to do with executives. It will have to take those individuals. This is the same advice I gave the NDC some months ago after they took over the reins of power of this country. Set up a post-appointment committee, so that those people who felt that they ought to have gotten some positions that they've not gotten, don't forget, they are aggrieved. But if you let them feel part of the process, it doesn't matter whether the person will have gotten appointment, because in reality, you know very well that though you might have supported the party, though you might have financed the party one way or the other, you did that with a view that you believe in the philosophy of the party. That is why you did so. So the most important thing is that let them feel part of the process. Other than that, this despondency for which the MPP suffered is also present in the NDC currently, notwithstanding the stellar performance of the president in terms of the economy, governance, and so on and so forth. You still have a sizable number of the grassroots who feel that they've not gotten employment, who feel that they've not been appointed. So much the same way, if you just suppose that to that of Dr. Bawumia's quest or his intention, you see, he will have that time. He wants to demonstrate humility before this electorate, so that the new love, they will find that new love and re-energize themselves once again. So I think that if he has decided to do something of that sort, it is all well and good. But he must set up that committee, either regional and so on and so forth, community-based, district-based. I mean, it's going to cost some money, but it is worth it. If you really believe that 2 million that you almost lost 1.7 million. If that 2 million really exists, and they exist for you because they were disenchanted with President with President Akufo-Addo, for which reason, they translated that anger onto him, then he will have no option than to go in humility to this cluster of persons and say we are sorry.
Right. 2 final questions. Then, before you take leave of us, the next would be there are concerns right now that the minority leader, for instance, may be kicked out of his leadership position in Parliament, and then other MPs that may not have necessarily campaigned for Dr. Bawumia may be affected by this win. Is that a fair concern? We are already being told that we shouldn't worry. Dr. Bawumia is not vindictive and wouldn't go down that route. But is it a fair concern for the likes of Enyonam to have?
I am one person who has advocated for his removal because he's not very consistent. He just shouts on top of the roof, and then he's shouting woof woof when there is nothing like that. But if it is because of the abysmal performance of Dr. Bawumia at a Futu, for which reason he should be removed, that for me will be a childish decision on the part of the party. He should rather be removed based upon incompetence. But if it is a matter of, leadership by rowdyism, then I think that he's played that role perfectly. But the party could equally have a different reason, right, to take him out, but not because Dr. Bawumia, didn't perform. You were expecting him to throw away his friendship with Mr. Kennedy for so many years. Do you know how, he got to that level where he finds himself now? So I think that a friend in need is a friend indeed. That is what happened. Besides, I, for one, never heard him publicly campaign against Dr. Bawumia. Not a single day. So if, because of that, they are talking about something of that sort, that is very wrong. Apart from that, I said it on TV3 that what has happened, taking the lessons from the top to bottom, is the fact that they have democratically elected a tyrant. They have democratically elected a tyrant because all those who did not support Dr. Bawumia were holding positions or intend to hold positions. They will be railroaded. They will not in any way make them get those positions. That is a reality that is going to happen. And that, for me, I'm saying, it will alienate the followers of these top-notch guys within the party. And that in itself will not augur well for unity. They think that once you have everybody else supporting Dr. Bawumia, you may not know that quite a number of people who do not support Dr. Bawumia, the same thing will happen as it happened in 2024. They will not go and vote. And that in itself will equally affect Dr. Bawumia's chances. The other MPs, as I know, obviously I said it, that when it gets to their primaries, they will make sure that they sponsor individuals, pay a lot of money to get them out. That is political mafiaism.
Okay. Well, and finally, and briefly, sorry for keeping you on. Finally, we know that it's going to be Dr. Bawumia against whoever the NDC brings up. Considering the 1-year governance of the NDC and the remaining 3 years, what would you think the initial calibration of the NPP should be, or the NDC, I should say? They've seen Bawumia, they've contested against him, they know the mettle he has. Would there be a change by 2028 that the NDC should be concerned about?
Oh, you see, the delegate deciding to elect Dr. Bawumia, well, they looked at his strengths. What are those strengths? That he's an experienced person. He's been close to the presidency. Secondly, he had more experience than his compeers, and that they think is advantages for him. But then, election at Bawumia means that you are hoping that the economy will be more murkier and messier than what the NDC inherited, which means that we should, by the end of 2028, be expecting inflation to be more than 23.8% as they inherited. That the cedi to the dollar should probably be about 18 cedis or 17 cedis as they inherited about 16 cedis thereabout, or 17 cedis thereabout. They are expecting that the debt to GDP, will rise beyond the 45 currently, and then probably go beyond the 61 that they left. Now, if these indicators, as I said, tend to the negative far more than what they inherited, then Ghanaians will have a good reason to vote for Dr. Bawumia. Other than that, the only trump card they are relying on is the fact that he's been marketed. What marketing are we talking about? Marketing for good or for bad reasons? If it were to be before the 2016 elections, then you can say that the man has been marketed or he's marketed himself positively, because at that time he was the poster boy of the MPP. What do we see now? That is not the case. The other escape route that they have been adopting is the fact that, he was sidelined. He never took active part, in the later years of the MPP government. My goodness. And then the same person will say, I initiated about 33 policies that have seen the light of day and that are working in the lives of Ghanaians. That, for me, is not a mark of good leadership. You take the bad, the good, and the ugly, and then give reasons. Don't be afraid. Defend that which was bad in a way that people will understand, not that you are going to make excuses. And that is the more reason why he has not succeeded. You cannot tell me that being part of the what's it called? You were part of the e-levy policy. Then you are telling Ghanaians that, wait, vote for me. And when you have finished voting for me in 2025, I will take out the e-levy. I mean, you think that people would take you seriously? Hell no. He himself did not prosecute his campaign in a consistent manner because he had lost credibility. So he has a lot of things to do. They will have to do proper repackaging, because to be frank with you, Dr. Bawumia is a damaged product. In actual fact, he may be more damaged than when President Akufo-Addo was trying to, get power before the 2016 election. He may be more damaged because he became the poster boy of the party. So people know that all those promises that they made, whether the president meant it or not, his face was there. Don't also forget that he was the one who even read the 2020 manifesto of the MPP. When in actual fact, you are not the one contesting as president. So he has been in the fray, actively. So it is very strange, you see, for him to, or for his people to approbate and reprobate. There are some people that whatever you do, they are MPP in the black. There's nothing you can do. But you need to connect with the floating voters. Today, people, do videos, short videos, social media, they post it, they are talking about how fuel has become cheaper than it used to be. These things are records. That if the price of fuel do not become worse off than what they inherited, what basis, what reason will Ghanaians, both educated and uneducated, have to bring Dr. Bawumia back? So that's the more reason why people felt that they should have gone for someone who did not have all this baggage. Because the presence of Dr. Bawumia will immediately remind Ghanaians of the record of President Akufo-Addo.
Right.
And since he was, actively over there, they will use it against him.
Right.
They will definitely use it against him. And so, at the end of the day, it all boils down to the economy and then the transition. The next person the NDC will choose after President Mahama will have to do the trick.
Okay. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Ochoe, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts this evening. And he is the Executive Director, Africa Institute for Strategic Studies, and also a political analyst, helping us put into perspective post the flag-bearer election of the New Patriotic Party. What should the next things be? Where should the party focus their attention and influence to ensure that they are able to build or put together a formidable force going into 2028? And so you've heard him espouse a number of things that could work for the party and things that could be an albatross around their own necks. So, well, we wait to see now that the party is all about unity and having a united front, how do they intend to undertake these unity talks that can be more fruitful to their own benefit? We would update you here on your election command center as and when we do see the next line of action of the New Patriotic Party. This is still Hotedition on 3FM 92.7. We are shifting our attention now to education. The government is set to decentralize the recruitment, posting, and sanctioning of teachers, shifting these responsibilities from the central government to the district assemblies. Currently, the Ghana Education Service recruits teachers nationwide through a centralized system, handling all postings and administrative sanctions from Accra. Under the new policy, these responsibilities will be transferred to local district assemblies, giving them greater control over staffing decisions in their schools. The Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, announced the move while addressing the 14th congregation of the St. John Bosco College of Education in Navrongo. He explained that the policy is intended to strengthen government efforts to respond more quickly to staffing challenges in schools, particularly in underserved and hard-to-reach communities. Mr. Idrisu added that the current centralized recruitment system will be reviewed as part of a broader reform aimed at deepening decentralization and improving efficiency in meeting local education needs. Let's listen to the minister now.
One of these days, President Mahama asked a question that how come that the Katsina District Assembly or Navrongo District Assembly cannot recruit and sanction a teacher, and that we must wait for 2 years to recruit a teacher and sanction that teacher? He wants a reversal of that policy so that we will strengthen the devoluted power of the district assemblies so that recruitment of teachers will now be the primary function of the district assembly. So, Minister of Local Government, even though the President is yet to give policy approval to your revised decentralization policy, I'm happy to announce on behalf of President Mahama at a meeting chaired by the Vice President, attended by myself and the Minister for Local Government, it is the thinking of President Mahama that the District Assembly Common Fund under Article 252 of the Constitution be adjusted upward from 5% to 7.5%, gradually beginning with 1% dedicated to education and decentralized education under the ministry supervised by local government, and the additional 1% dedicated to health and decentralized provision for health. This is what President Mahama wants to do.
Haruna Idrisu is the minister in charge of education. Let's speak to Dr. Peter Pateanti, the Executive Director, Institute for Education Studies, IFEST. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening, sir.
What are your initial thoughts on this proposition where the government says there seems to be something fundamentally wrong with the current centralized teacher recruitment system, and they say that now going forward the idea will be to decentralize it? Every region, every district, look through, pick someone you believe is competent to teach there. What do you make of this idea?
Well, I think in principle, it sounds good. We have practiced a centralized system all these years. We have seen its weaknesses, And we've seen that we still have problems with teacher deployment. We have problems with teacher recruitment. And so any attempt to decentralize recruitment process that is geared towards ensuring that the issue of lack of teachers in some of districts is addressed is something that should be welcomed. What we would want to see is the policy proposition and a rationale in a well-articulated manner so that we would be able to add on to the decision to see how best we'll be able to do this so that we will get the best out of it. I think it's good the minister has announced this. We'll be expecting a policy paper in that direction, and we can take it from there.
Right. Maybe it's early days yet, so we will all wait to see how it solidifies in front of us. But is there any concern? I mean, from where you say, what really is the challenge with a centralized system? You said, and we've been on that system for some time now.
Yeah, sure. So you agree with me that we have always been complaining. There are districts in this country that do not have the requisite number of teachers. There are districts in this country where schools have not more than 2 teachers manning the primary level. But we also know that we have a lot more teachers who are in certain districts that technically seems to not be doing anything substantial. So the issue of teacher deployment, redeployment is crucial. And you are able to solve this when you are able to now decentralize the recruitment process so that you know that in your district you are recruiting teachers. If you are recruiting teachers and you would wait for some of the schools to still be without teachers, then it is up to you. But you need to do this in a way that you are not compromising on quality and also making sure that the political angle of our system, of our social system, does not come into, because if you are giving the power to the local authorities, then it means that you need to build their capacity and ensure that they are fit for purpose. So those are the challenges that you are likely to face. But the centralized system has outlived its usefulness because we still have the issue of more districts lacking teachers and other educational resources. And if you are not tackling it from a decentralized manner, you will not be able to meet the needs of these districts that do not have the requisite teachers. So, as I said, it's important for them to put out a policy paper so that we will be able to now have a broader discussion around. I think that is one of the things that we don't do in this country. There is a policy proposition. You need the buy-in of all relevant stakeholders, but you need to put your idea out first. So not just by announcing it, but there should be a well-articulated policy paper so that we all look at it and then see how best we'll be able to do this to ensure that our educational system at the local level is robust.
And I largely agree with the latter part of your submission, which is that usually it is thrown into the public. A lot of conversation, conjecturing, discussions are held before government either releases a policy paper, like you're saying, or probably shelves it because of the kind of reaction they've got in the public light. But this is one you would like government to truly consider, but you want to see something some document to look at the feasibility of it before you can, fully back it. Is that the point you're making?
Exactly. We need to first understand how the policymaker is thinking around it. You see, mostly, sometimes the way they think might not be the same as the way we are also looking at the policy.
Right.
So when you release a policy paper, you give an indication where you are thinking, what you're thinking is the rationale and other things. Then we can align. Then you also give us an indication how you are going to implement this policy. Then we'll be able to tell you the challenges that you are likely to face if you embark on this and how you can implement this in a way that will be able to get the best out of it. So that kind of conversation would be well informed. But when you use 2-3 minutes of a minister's speech to now do a critical analysis of it, you are likely to face two challenges. Either the minister or either they will tell you that this is not how we are looking at it, or they will tell you that you should wait for us to give you further and better particulars. And no policy analyst would want to find himself in that particular situation.
Right.
So if that is what they want to do, let us have a comprehensive understanding of the thing, and then we can have a good conversation and ensure that this is implemented smoothly to the benefit of all and sundry.
Certainly so. Thank you, Doc, for your time this evening.
You're welcome.
And that is Dr. Peter Pateyanti, the Executive Director, Institute for Education Studies, IFEST. And your thoughts are also very welcome. Do let us know what you make of this proposition, the decentralization of teacher recruitment and sanctioning that the Education Minister has mentioned. As it stands, he says a number of problems have arisen as a result of the centralized form of recruitment for teachers. Everything is in the Greater Accra region, and then after the teachers are recruited, they are deployed from Greater Accra. But the proposal now is that every district, every region should consider what they need or which teacher groupings they need from basic to secondary to tertiary, and then do the recruitment themselves and the sanctioning themselves. So like our resource person said, we need more than what the minister has said. Then we can better interrogate and scrutinize this policy to ensure that it is to the benefit of the general Ghanaian people. We would update you on further particulars if we do get them here at 3FM 92.7 and on all our sister stations. This is Hotedition. Let's go on to some other stories now. The government is preparing to release 41 million Ghana cedis to settle book and research allowances owed to members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CETAG, for the 2023-2024 electoral season, academic year. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu made the announcement during the 14th congregation and the 96th anniversary celebration of St. John Bosco College of Education in Navrongo in the Upper East region. CETAG, which is the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, has been on strike since November 24, 2025, pressing for full implementation of the National Labour Commission's May 2023 Arbitral Award. Speaking at the event, the Education Minister said the Ministry of Finance is in the final stages of processing the payment. He urged CETAG members to call off their strike so that academic activities could resume across all colleges of education. Let's listen to the minister, then we'll get some perspective on this.
Let me also use opportunity. I know that CETAG, you are not happy with me, you are not happy with government or President Mahama, you are not happy with the Minister for Finance, and you've been on strike for a number of days, if not weeks and months. I'm aware that currently, government is processing through the Ministry of Finance the release of 41 million Ghana cedis for your book and research allowance for 2023-2024. And therefore, let me use this opportunity to urge you to call off your strike. If the basis of your strike was because you were not paid book and research allowance for 2023-2024, it's been processed. It's now between controller and your bank account. Why would you hold the young learners to ransom? I don't find that acceptable, and I will not accept that going forward. We will pay you, and we'll pay you within the next 1 week. I'm sure this will controller. So I expect that by 9th of February, normal academic work should be restored in all colleges of education throughout Ghana.
And that certainly will be music to the ears of CETAG members. President of the association has joined us, Maxwell Bunu. Good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, my brother. I hope we are doing great.
Yes, we are. You certainly agree. What do you make of the minister's announcement that latest by next week or the 9th of February, the book and research allowance, which is one or probably the main reason why your members are on strike, would be paid, and because of that, you should return to the lecture halls. What do you make of it?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, and good evening to all listeners. As members of CITA, we are particularly grateful to the minister for the great job that he's doing. We are delighted that he's making impact in resolving the issues. However, if you recall, the strike notice that we gave, we actually identified 5 issues, and currently 3 is being resolved. After receiving that letter, the financial clearance letter from PRINCO President and then the Deputy Director General of GTEC, I followed up to Accra, went to Controller myself, just to be told that they have not even received the financial clearance, let alone receiving the warrant that will enable them to pay us. So, as a leader, in fact, we have been there before. The previous government has taken us through similar paths. When you suspend a strike, then you are told that the money is locked up in a give means, and the give means that animal is not releasing the money. We don't want to travel along that path anymore. So we have resolved that the money must hit our account, and then we'll call a council meeting to determine the way forward. Of course, we have 2 outstanding issues that are currently before National Labour Commission. I think council will take a decision on those 2 as well. And if the council decides that we suspend the strike, I think we have no option than to do so.
So the only thing that will urge you to go back to your classroom, to the lecture halls, or help you change your mind is if you get the notification that the money has hit your account.
Exactly so, my brother. Because even today, I called Controller, and he told me that they were having a meeting, so they haven't concluded. So it means that that paper document, I don't know if as of now they have received it, because I share my copy with them. So if the minister made his words, then I want to plead and urge him to call Controller and then ensure that they fast-track the process to releasing the money into our account. And I think with that, members will be convinced that they need to get back to work whilst we look at the remaining issues that have not been resolved.
But in your early submission, you clearly acknowledged the effort of the minister, trying to address a number of your concerns, critical among them being this book and research allowance that has delayed and actually even was before this current administration. So shouldn't that be convincing enough for you to say that, well, based on the output that we have observed and the commitment made, maybe we should just go while we await for the notification to actually hit your accounts?
Like I said, we cannot make statement without acknowledging the effort that the minister is making to resolve the issue. That we cannot talk without making reference to it. But that does not necessarily amount to money in our pocket. We need to appreciate him. When necessary, we do so. But the bottom line remains that an empty sack cannot stand. So members need to get the money that will enable them take care of themselves and then be able to do the kind of publications that they have to do in order to get promotion. As I speak with you, GTEC has set a very high standard for our members to get publications done. And if you don't have the money, how are you going to get the publications done? So yes, we acknowledge the effort that the minister is making. And that's the point I'm making, that yes, we appreciate his effort. We are glad about the role that he's playing. But as it stands, we need to get that assurance, because we do not want to rush to suspend this strike and later be told that the money is locked up in Give Me, as we experienced in the past. We don't want to travel along that path any longer.
All right. We would have to leave it here for now, Mr. Bunu. Thank you for speaking to us.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. Have a wonderful evening, sir.
You too, sir. And that is the president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CETAG, Maxwell Bunu, giving us their thoughts on the proposition by the minister that they should return to the lecture halls because latest by next week, and actually put a date to it. He says by the 9th of February 2026, which is exactly a week from today, the monies that they have been clamoring for which reason they are on strike, which is the book and research allowance, will be paid because it is currently at the Controller and Accountant General's office. So right from there, it should be hitting their accounts. It is about 41 million Ghana cedis, and he is confident that it will be paid. But the teachers just said, or we just had the president confirming that in as much as they appreciate the efforts of the Minister of Education, they believe that they have been bitten once by previous administrations and will not allow that to happen again. So until they see that the money is actually in their accounts, they will continue to be on strike up until then. We'll see how the coming days go and what exactly the reactions will be. Away from that, though, the government is racing against time to meet a 2-week ultimatum by cocoa farmers for the settlement of their unpaid funds. The farmers who are facing severe financial distress due to significant payment delays for beans supplied during the 2025-2026 season say they are compelled to sell to other cocoa purchasing markets. There is more on that in this particular report.
The unpaid cocoa debt dates back to November 2025 as the Ghana Cocoa Board grapples with a debt exceeding 32 billion Ghana cedis. In October last year, Ghana sets its farm gate price at 58,000 cedis per metric ton, equivalent to about $4,640, representing a 12% increase. However, available data show international cocoa prices are currently trading at around $4,700 per ton, narrowing margins and complicating Cocoa Board's ability to meet its payment obligations. President of the Ghana National Cocoa Farmers Association, NACOC, Stevenson Ananibuating, says the delay is worrying.
Cocoa Board did not receive the money he collects from these people every year. That's syndicated loan. That is why this thing had become a problem. And if Cocoa Board and the government cannot stand to buy cocoa any longer, it should let we cocoa farmers aware, because the government doesn't have cocoa farm in the country. We cocoa farmers own cocoa farm. Then he come and then he does not tell us anything. And Cocoa Board, who is representing cocoa government on cocoa interventions, are also keeping silent on this issue. In fact, we are very, very aggrieved to that extent, because it's not fair and it's unfair, and it's also going to make this government unpopular.
The association laments that constant engagement with government have yielded no response.
A lot of letters have been written to them and they never reply. So this time round, we have decided not to write any letter again. Since we write and they will not reply, it's unfair to us, and we are not prepared to write any letter. But then we are going to take decisions on what we are going to tell the public on Wednesday.
With cocoa prices tumbling on the international market, it remains to be seen how government will overcome this payment hurdle. Grace Hamwajiman, Accra.
And just before we swing to the world of sports, let's bring you this story having to do with the fact that the Volta North Regional Police Command, in an exercise to clamp down on drug trafficking in the region, has arrested 4 suspects in possession of narcotic substances. The arrest was done during 2 separate operations. The first happened when the police intercepted 2 vehicles heading towards Kwando on Thursday, the 29th of January. The drivers, whose names have been mentioned as Achireme George, 43, and Benjamin Benjamin Akpado, 23, attempted to flee into the nearby bush after spotting a patrol team, but were arrested after a pursuit. A search of the vehicle revealed 20 sacks of items containing 680 parcels of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp. The suspects are currently in police custody assisting investigations, while efforts are underway to track down other persons linked to the consignment. The second operation also took place in the early hours of Friday, the 30th of January, when the police, acting on intelligence, stopped a Toyota minibus with registration number GT659219 at Podome. The vehicle, driven by Enyonam Vumaji with Emmanuel Komagla on board, was heading towards Togo. A search uncovered 18 sacks containing 648 yellow oval parcels of substances suspected to be narcotic drugs. The police say during the operation, a man identified only as Joseph allegedly contacted officers and attempted to offer them 150,000 Ghana cedi bribe, while the suspect also allegedly offered 32,000 Ghana cedis cash. The officers rejected the offers and proceeded with the arrest. The suspects are currently in custody, assisting with investigations. Well, it's interesting. We see what the Ghana police will be doing with all these items they have seized and what the reactions will be. Time now, though, for the latest in the world of sports.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hotedition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Ishen. Now, let's start off from the Premier League, where Ghana international Antoine Semenyo has refused to give up on a Premier League title chase despite Manchester City sharing the spoils with Tottenham Hotspurs on Sunday. The Ghana international was on target when Manchester City played out a 2-2 draw with Spurs in a highly competitive clash. Now, the draw leaves Manchester City 6 points behind the league leaders Arsenal, and as the Premier League title race, of course, heats up in there. But also, Semenyo remains confident that his outfit still has title chances with 14 matches left to go in the English top flight.
We've got more games. There's 14 games to go. So, we're 6 points behind. It's not the end, so we just need to keep going. Anything can happen. Like I said, 14 games to go. So they might lose at the top a couple of games, and we might win, and the dynamic changes. So just have to wait and see.
That was Antoine Semenyo speaking there. Now, Black Stars winger Christopher Buntuba has been shortlisted for Al-Qatiya's Player of the Month award for January after an impressive run in the Saudi Pro League. The 21-year-old is among 4 nominees following a productive month in which Al-Qatiya went 7 league games unbeaten. Buntuba featured in all 7 matches, registering 3 assists, including 2 in a dominant 5-1 win over Al-Hazem, and played a role in the victory against Al-Ittihad. He has now contributed to 5 league goals this season, underlining his growing influence. And some other news, Ghanaian international defender Jonas Ajete is close to completing a move to VfL Wolfsburg after the Bundesliga side reached a full agreement with FC Basel for his transfer, according to some reports. The deal is valued at around 10 million euros, with a 22-year-old currently undergoing a medical ahead of an official announcement before the transfer deadline closes. Now, since joining Basel in 2022, Ajete has impressed with his consistency and leadership, earning 7 Black Stars caps. His pace, strength, and aerial ability are expected to strengthen Wolfsburg's defense as he begins a new chapter in Germany, according to reports. Of course, Ajete won the Swiss Super League with Basel in the 2024-25 campaign. And this season, he has managed 15 appearances in the league for Basel out of 22 available matches and started 14 of them. And so he's seen as an important asset for Basel, and so congratulations to him if that move is confirmed, because Wolfsburg actually features in the Bundesliga, and so that represents a step up for him. And that brings an end to sports here on Hotedition on 3FM 92.7, and it also brings an end to yet another Hot Edition. So do stay tuned tomorrow, same time, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. with all the latest updates in news, sports, and entertainment and more here on 3FM 92.7.